Hello there, friends. I was gearing up to go to the gym and I was struck by a bit of inspiration. So instead of going to the gym right now, we're going to play Lorcana. But first and foremost, let's talk about the deck we're playing. This is the Amber and Ruby Mufasa deck, and we're going to go through each of those cards really quickly and sort of dive into what this deck revolves around. Frankly, it revolves around Mufasa, Betrayed Leader. We want to have him on the board a lot because his effect is cool, but let's get to him in just a second. First and foremost, we have Pluto, Friendly Pooch. His is one cost uninkable, but boy does he help you ramp up, meaning you can use him to give yourself more ink. Effectively, he makes you pay one less for the next character you play this turn after you exert him. Stitch New Dog at 1, just a solid start. Also allows you to shift into the larger Stitch later on. Piglet, Pooh, Pirate Captain. This is a fantastic card that sort of is a sleeper hit. If you have 3 characters in play, then all of a sudden Piglet is questing for 3. Simba, Protective Cub. This bodyguard ability is great and allows you to protect some of your smaller boys and girls when he is in play with that bodyguard ability. Mother Gothel, Withered and Wicked. This is an interesting effect. When Mother Gothel comes into play, it deals 3 damage to herself, which pairs great with Rapunzel, which we're going to get to a little bit later. Doc, Leader of the Seven Dwarfs. I love Doc. And Doc, when he comes into play, when he quests, you pay 1 ink less for the next character you play this turn, rather. Pongo, Determined Father, which allows you to pay 2 ink once per turn. And look at the top card of your deck. If it is a character card, that goes into your hand. Very powerful card. Aladdin Street Rat, mainly because I want to have something to pair with the Aladdin Heroic Outlaw, but Aladdin Street Rat also cuts into your opponent's lore if you're a little bit behind. It's a nice added bonus. Hades, Lord of the Underworld, allows you to fetch characters that might have been eliminated from your banish pile and put them back into your hand. Rapunzel, Gifted with Healing, pairs wonderfully with Mother Gothel, Withered and Wicked. She will heal Mother Gothel for 3 and allow you to draw 3 cards, or she's also good if any of your other characters get damaged. Mufasa, Betrayed Leader. When Mufasa is banished, you can reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a character card, then you can put that into play exerted. Just a very powerful, resilient card. Next up, Maui, Hero to All. I look at this card like removal. It's there to get big bad stuff that your opponent has in play out of the way. Stitch Rockstar, just a very solid card to shift onto Stitch New Dog. What a great combo this is. Then you have Lady Tremaine, Imperious Queen. Now this is a card when it comes into play, the opponent has to sacrifice a creature of their choice. Very powerful card when put into play. Also pairs very well with Madame Medusa. When Madame Medusa comes into play, you banish the opponent's chosen character that has 3 power or less. And then Aladdin Heroic Outlaw. This is just a good card. It's been a good card for a while, but it's not seeing as much play anymore because Robin Hood at the 5 ink slot is also pretty powerful and sort of a lighter version of this. Whenever you banish another character in a challenge, you gain 2 lore and your opponent loses 2 lore, sort of goes in line with the Aladdin Street Rat. Maleficent Monstrous Dragon is a big bad when it comes into play. Banish a chosen character of your opponent's on your opponent's board. And then Chernabog Evildoer. I love this card and I want to figure out a way to revolve my deck more around this card. But for each character card in your discard pile, it costs 1 less to play Chernabog. And then when Chernabog enters play, all characters from your discard pile then go back into your deck. It's a very flavorful card. There's a lot of flavor to it, and I like that. I like that card a lot. And then for songs, we're very limited. We want to have a very character-heavy deck here so Mufasa can consistently find characters to come into play. I have the Bare Necessities and Be Prepared. The Bare Necessities are to look in your opponent's hand. If there are any songs or actions or items, effectively a non-character card, you can remove those from their hand. And Be Prepared because sometimes you just need a reset button. If there is a deck that has gotten ahead of you, it's nice to have a reset button and sort of clear the playing field. Ultimately, you hope to never have to use this, but it's there just in case. Anyway, let's get to playing the deck. Okay, we are in a game we are playing against a Steel and Ruby deck. I've got to be honest, I've only played against one of these before, and I didn't know what they were doing then, and I'm curious as to what they're going to be doing now. All right, this is a pretty interesting hand. We're going to get rid of our non-inkables here because this deck is really dependent upon ink. We're going first. We have the Rapunzel and the Mother Gothel combo. Pongo and Maleficent. Stitch is obviously going to be a turn 1 play. Unless Pluto comes out. If Pluto comes out, that might change things up for us. No, we just have another Stitch and an Aladdin. So we're going to ink Maleficent right off the bat, and they're going to know our 2 colors. Which, I mean, they would, if they were our opponent playing in real life, they would know our 2 colors right now. On Pixelborn, they already do. So we're going to pass the turn and see what they do for turn 1. By the way, you're definitely going to see me drinking supplements over here. I'm so sorry. So they ink an Aladdin, probably a Captain Hook or a Robin Hood. A Sergeant Tibbs. I don't know what's happening here. This is intriguing. Okay, I think Stitch is going to be the choice to ink here. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to keep Stitch in hand. We play Mother Gothel to go ahead and do some damage to her. And then I think we pass the turn. I don't want to trade. I don't want to quest with Stitch because then they could easily be traded with Sergeant Tibbs. And right now I'm building up a stronger board presence faster. At turn 3, we're very likely going to be using, if we don't draw a card that can be inked, on turn 3 we're playing Pluto. We want to guarantee that turn 4 we can play Rapunzel. So I want to play either Pongo or Aladdin on turn. If we draw into a card that gives us ink, I want to play Pongo probably. But they're going to do 2 Gain Ambitions on Mother Gothel. Ah, they have the removal from Mother Gothel. That's a smart play. That is a smart play by them. Okay, we drew into a Piglet. And I think what we do here is we ink an Aladdin. That gives us 3 ink, and we can play both Piglet and Pluto. That means when Piglet quests, we're going to get 3 lore. We quest with Stitch. And right now I'm starting to threaten a lot of stuff on board. Now here's the problem. Both in Steel and in Ruby, there is a lot of removal. Most specifically right now, I'm super weak to Grab Your Swords. That's still 2 turns away after this, so we will see if that's going to become a larger issue, but it's just something to be aware of. Ba-boom, ba-boom, rather going into Piglet. That makes sense. I'm getting that removal out of the way. Of course, they're going to go for Piglet there. That just adds up. Huh. Now, I think what I do here is I'm going to play Pongo. I'm going to ink Maui, and then I'm going to use Pongo's ability, and we're going to draw Mufasa. What a stellar turn that is. We're going to go ahead and quest here. We are, again, super weak to Grab Your Swords. That's sort of to be expected. And by the way, that's why Pongo's ability is so strong, because I can just begin to fill my hand up. Now, they're starting to notice that. If they have another removal spell in hand, it would probably be in their best interest to use that to remove Pongo, just because Pongo fills up my hand almost guaranteed for 2 ink. It's effectively 2 ink, draw a card, which is a very, very powerful ability to be on a 3 power, 2 defense body. So we have Kita that has Bodyguard, and then they use Baboom to get rid of Pongo. They had to. That makes so much sense. Okay, because all of our characters are pretty weak, we're gonna ink Piglet. I don't want to risk having to use it for a Grab Your Swords, and then we're gonna go ahead and put Mufasa out here. Simply because I think they have a Grab Your Swords. I'm going to quest with all of my characters, because if I don't quest and they have Grab Your Swords, then I'm losing 2 lore. I've net lost 2 lore there. If they don't have Grab Your Swords, then Kita's going to trade out probably with Pluto, because they don't want to put any damage on their Bodyguard character. Yep. And then they very likely have another set of removal, so they're going to ink something and they have another removal. Oh, they don't. They have Mickey Mouse. How interesting. They can play a character for free with that. Wow. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to play Pongo. We're going to use the ability again. We're going to find ourselves a Simba. We're then going to... I think we ink this Simba here. They could bring in a character with Rush. I don't think I really mind too much. I'm just trying to quest and put some pressure lore-wise for them. Frankly, having more ink is important to me now. So getting to the 6 or 7 ink spot is where I want to be, ideally. So they bring in a Robin Hood. They have this Mickey Mouse online, so they're going to play a character for free. That character is Lady Tremaine. They're going to ask me to sacrifice a character. That's just going to be Stitch. I don't need to keep Stitch around. That's a very powerful card. That's a fun use of Mickey Mouse here. I think that's very fun. I think it's a very interesting use of Lady Tremaine, but Stitch is the obvious choice. And this is why we just draw Stitch and we're okay. So... okay, this is a very interesting play. What I want to do is I want to trade out with Kita here for Mufasa. Then I want to use Rapunzel to heal my Mufasa for 2. So I'll draw 2 more cards. I'll be able to ink this turn, which I didn't think I was going to be able to. And then I leave these cards back. Right now, this is this is fully in my favor. I think I actually want to take this Mickey Mouse out of play too with Pongo. I feel confident about where my hand is, and it would require them to effectively sacrifice their board to get rid of my board right now. And Mufasa should mathematically put another character into play when he has been removed. So we're going to see what they do, but I just wanted to get Mickey Mouse off the board because the ability to just bring in any character for 2 ink is very, very good. I don't know this deck. I don't know what other characters are in their deck, but I think that is the wise decision. So they don't have a big Robin Hood. That much is clear. We get a Lady... oh my goodness, this is so bad for them. We get a Lady Tremaine. It comes into play, and all of the triggers that happen when it comes into play occur. So they're going to have to sacrifice their Lady Tremaine now. So at 4 ink, they're kind of ink stuck. They're in a tough position. Oh, goodness gracious me. Okay, I think my play is pretty simple. Request. We put Mufasa in play. And I genuinely think that is all. Well, no, I don't think that is all. I think let's check our graveyard. We have Mother Gothel, Piglet, Pongo, Pluto, Mufasa, Pongo, Stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't want to overextend here. We're going to gain 6 lore next turn. They have 2 cards in hand. I don't want to overextend. I'd much rather keep this as is. I like where this hand is. Playing Chernabog, I'm tempted to do so, but I don't know what's in this deck, so I'd rather play it safer while I am 9 lore ahead and just secure the round, as it were. Okay, well, there's nothing that I know for 6 lore that is going to wipe my board. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play Stitch. I'm going to play Simba. I'm not going to trigger Bodyguard for Simba because I want to trigger Adoring Fans on Stitch here, which will tap this character anyway and allow me to draw a card. Then I'm going to quest. And this is effectively a challenge to say, you have to clear this board. If you don't clear this board, then I win the game. What they don't know is that I'm holding a Chernabog. And if they destroy all of these creatures or some of these creatures, it makes that Chernabog effectively free to play. And with a Maui in hand, I can remove any of their other creatures. They have said well played, which means to me that they have recognized that they did not draw the card that they had needed. That's kind of a bummer. They were kind of ink stuck for a little while, but that is a good showcase of the power of Mufasa. Okay, we have another round. We are playing Steel and Ruby again. I don't know if this is gaining popularity on the Pixelborn ladder. I've not seen it super frequently. With this hand, it's pretty good. We have some early pressure. It's not necessarily as good as the last hand we had, but I'm okay keeping it, mainly because we have Mufasa. We have a 1-drop, and now we have 2 2-drops with Piglet. I'm going first again, so we're going to ink Maleficent at the 9-drop slot. It's just kind of a bummer. She's just automatic ink when we play a Stitch and Pass. Okay, they are going to ink the Prince. This might be the same person I played last time. I'm not sure. Okay, now we add another Stitch that we have drawn. I believe our play is to ink Stitch and play Piglet, force out the Baboom, and quest with Stitch, and then pass turn. Okay, so they're going to ink Maleficent. Oh, goodness. Thank goodness. If this is the same player, thank goodness we didn't get up into those later turns. They Baboom Piglet. That makes sense to me. They do not want to have that Piglet out there. Okay, now I have to think. I want to pressure this player and force them to use removal, but I also am worried about setting myself up to be vulnerable to Grab Your Swords, which I imagine they're playing. I can't imagine a world that they're not playing Grab Your Swords. So I'm going to ink Aladdin, 3-drop, 2/2. That removes the lore. I'm not worried about that right now. I'm going to play Piglet and Pluto to activate Piglet. We're still 3 turns away for them to have enough ink to play Grab Your Swords. This will at the very least for us bring out another Baboom. Whatever Baboom they bring out, they're going to have to choose between Piglet and Pluto. Both of those are not great options for the opponent to have on my side of the field, because Pluto allows me to sort of ramp up and pick up speed. In a perfect world, though, what I draw here is a card that is inkable, because I don't want to ink either of these 2 cards. I certainly don't want to ink Rapunzel, because card draw is so... And they take out Piglet. That makes sense. Okay, we've drawn Pongo. I don't really want to ink Pongo either, but I understand that that's probably the... I understand that could be the play, but now that has changed things. Now that we have Pongo, I can use Pluto to bring in Pongo for 2, and then activate Pongo's ability and draw a Pluto. Interesting. Then we quest for 1, and ship the turn back to them. I'm just continually adding more threats to the board. Again, this board state is very weak to Grab Your Swords. I'm okay with that at this stage of the game. I think that is sort of an inevitability here. And while it's not great, and I don't love that, that's just something I have to deal with. Okay, so now they have a Mickey Mouse. Wowzers. The play here is to put Mufasa in play. And then I quest because whatever this could be a Grab Your Swords turn. If it is, that's very unfortunate. Thankfully, we'll have Mufasa in play. So I flip whatever card, whatever's going to come in next. This could be a misplay. I could be overextending here. So we'll see. Pongo is just that powerful. I could be overextending. There is a reasonable argument to saying just spend 2 ink and activate Pongo's ability and see what you get. But I'm gonna gamble here and see what we got. I'm gonna sort of pressure my opponent and force them to have the removal. Mickey Mouse is still okay. So we don't have grab your swords. We do have the prince never gives up coming with bodyguard that he quests for 2 lore, has resist 1, which is resist as a mechanic, by the way, in Lorcana, very good. So we're gonna play Madame Medusa. Madame Medusa is going to remove Mufasa. Let's see what we get. We get Maui. Oh, that's potentially worst case scenario for them. That's an automatic bit of removal for the prince. Ooh my, that is a really high value flip for me there. Okay, we've drawn another Pongo. We're gonna activate Pongo's ability. We're gonna draw a 3rd Pongo. Oh my. Well, let's think about what we wanna do here. Before we play any cards, let's go ahead and get the prince off the board. Let's get Mickey Mouse off the board. Those threats are out of the way now. We have 3 lore. I can ink a card. Oh, this feels... Yeah, I don't think I want to risk any more here. I want to force Madame Medusa to trade with Maui or Stitch. I'm gonna pass the turn. If I play another Pongo, then I am just that much more vulnerable to grab your swords. All 3 cards in my hand will be eliminated with grab your swords. That is just the definition of overextending. I have a very dominant board state here. Anything else is just me trying to win more, as it were, and that's not ideal. So they're going to trade, they're going to eliminate my Stitch, use Along Came Zeus to eliminate my Maui. That's fine. And now I draw a Rapunzel. Okay, how very intriguing. So we're going to use this ability to draw a card. We get an Aladdin. Now, I play 3 Aladdins and 3 Pongos. I think there's more value here in me using this turn to try and get another card. And we do get another card, and then we get a Mother Gothel. Now we have the Rapunzel and Mother Gothel combo. That is 6 ink to pull off. I have 6 ink. Great. I'm going to quest here, and if Madame Medusa desperately, probably trades out with Pluto, which means I get a free quest from Pongo. Madame Medusa wants Pluto gone because that deals no damage to Madame Medusa. If Madame Medusa tries to challenge Pongo, then that eliminates Madame Medusa. In a perfect world, they're trading out with Pluto here. Yep, and by trading out, of course, I mean eliminating and challenging Pluto. Now they have 6 lore. Playing Lady Tremaine. Okay, we will eliminate this Pongo. And 1 card in hand. Okay, fine. First, we are going to play Mother Gothel. Mother Gothel is going to injure herself for 3. Then I'm going to play Rapunzel, healing Mother Gothel, 3 and drawing 3 cards. Okay, how very interesting. We are going to ink Doc, and then I think we're going to hold back with this. I'm curious to see what they do with their turn. If they're going to quest, what other cards they draw. I've got more cards in hand, and even though they have bigger characters on their board, I still feel like I'm in a better position. So we quest with Madame Medusa and Lady Tremaine. Play a Tinkerbell. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. Now. I want to check for another card with Pongo. We're going to get Rockstar Stitch. Okay. What I really want to do is I want to get rid of these 2 cards. Getting rid of these 2 cards eliminates my board in its entirety. But I also am not sure that I really care that much. In my discard, I have Piglet, Mufasa, Stitch. Okay. So I'm thinking what we do is we send Mother Gothel into Lady Tremaine. We've already gotten our value from Pongo here. We send, it's going to give them a target either way. It's just unfortunate. It's going to be just out of reach here. I suppose I could do this, but that doesn't make a lot of sense. They only have 1 card in hand. Let's just remove all of their characters from play. Tinkerbell is going to trade out with Rapunzel and have to eliminate something. What that something is, I have yet to decide. All of my cards in hand can be picked off by Tinkerbell, except for Rockstar Stitch. I'm going to play Rockstar Stitch and pass the turn. So now Tinkerbell is going to challenge Rapunzel and deal 2 damage to Stitch. We'll figure out what they have in hand. That means they'll have to effectively have another card to deal with Stitch, as opposed to just being able to kill it outright, like Tinkerbell's ability would for any of the other cards that I have in hand. Save Aladdin, right? Aladdin's sort of the exception to that rule. Have a Captain Hook, okay, and a Robin Hood. All right, they're just sort of laying their hand out here. Now for me, we're going to do this. We're going to put a Piglet into our ink well. we are going to play Hades. And then I think what we do is we play... I have a second Hades in hand. I'm going to get a Rapunzel back. Rapunzel, I'm going to heal Stitch for 2 and draw 2 cards. And then I'm going to play Pluto. Actually, oh, drat. I made a misplay there. No, I don't think I did. They can quest, but they can't deal a bunch of damage. So we're going to pass turn. If I had used Stitch's ability on Pluto to draw a card, which would have been very greedy, then Tinkerbell would have challenged Pluto and taken out Hades. Now at this point, at least I'm able to challenge on my terms. So then they play a Maui. That, you know what? I feel even better about my decision now. We're going to quest. Okay, quest and quest. That makes sense. Okay, we have some options. Ultimately, we want to get rid of Robin Hood and Tinkerbell. The easiest way to do that, it would seem, would be to use Madame Medusa on Robin Hood and then assign 5 damage to Tinkerbell. Doing so will most assuredly eliminate Stitch. I'm going to use this and draw a card and see what we get. So we get Mother Gothel. That's not ideal. It gives me a card to ink. We're just going to go ahead and ink Mother Gothel. I'm worried about this Maui, but not so much that it's causing me a lot of trouble. So the play here is now to I'm just thinking of the most efficient trades. The trade here is to go, regardless, we're going to have Rapunzel going into Tinkerbell. This has 2 damage on it versus 4. So we do this. This is just the most optimal trade that I'm trying to work out in my mind is the best trade to make. Then we do Hades into Tinkerbell, Rapunzel into Tinkerbell. So now Captain Hook is going to be able to, they're going to be able to get rid of these 2 items here. That's fine by me. What I can then do is Madame Medusa, the Captain Hook, so he has to choose which of my characters he is going to eliminate. It's very likely going to be Stitch. And then I'm going to play Aladdin and remove one of their lore to set up next turn playing Aladdin as a shift from my hand. Now we're going to play, oh, they play Beast. Very powerful card. Now they're going to draw 2 cards at the start of a return. This is when I would be shocked if he did not eliminate Stitch. Yep, and there it goes. Stitch is eliminated. That makes so much sense to me. Okay. Oh, all right. Well, the play here has now become simple. We use Madame Medusa to take out Maui. Fine by me. We have 12 lore. We could have 13 lore if we wanted to. Do I want 13 lore? 5 and 6 is 11. I only need 1 more, so we're just going to use, we're going to go ahead and put Doc here. We're going to shift Aladdin onto Aladdin, and then with the remaining 6, we are going to play Lady Tremaine, have them sacrifice Beast, which is just a brutal turn for them, if I'm being honest. Have them sacrifice Beast, and then I quest. That's going to be 2, 4, 6, 7 that we're quested with. Next turn, we will quest for 8. If they don't have the ability to remove any of my characters in play, then we win the game. They have put a Mickey Mouse in play. Unfortunately, that is not going to help secure them the round at all. With this, they're likely doing the lore math right now, and they recognize that this game is over. And I imagine we'll get a concession, but if not, they might allow me to quest the following turn. They gave me a well played, so I will do the same. Well played, and they have conceded. All right, so that's 2 games of Amber, Ruby, Mufasa. Amber, Ruby, Mufasa is a very fun deck to play. Now, we only saw it be played against the Steel and Ruby deck that, again, I've never seen that before on the ladder, so that might not be the best representation of all of the matchups you're going to face. In fact, I know it's not. Oftentimes when you're playing Emerald Steel Discard, that is a bit of an interesting matchup there. I think it's about 60-40 in the favor of the Amber, Ruby, Mufasa player, just because of the amount of cards that you have that can overwhelm your opponents. Also, Chernobog doesn't care that some of your cards are being discarded in those instances. The Ruby and Amethyst matchup with Amber and Ruby is very hard. It is in favor of the Ruby Amethyst player, if I'm being frank. If you get a very fast start as the Mufasa player, then you're in a good spot for quite some time. But remember that they tend to have more late game power than you do. And I think the last matchup that I'd talk about is sort of the Steel Song decks, which are Amber and Steel. Anytime you're playing against Steel, you are fighting an uphill battle because of their targeted removal. And that certainly is made so much more difficult in Steel Song by virtue of the characters that they have in their deck to sing a lot of the removal songs scot-free. So you face a lot of uphill sledding against Steel Song. But all in all, I love playing Amber and Ruby Mufasa. It's a lot of fun. This is a deck that is a great little combination in the mid-range. So I hope you enjoyed watching me be played. Let me know what you're playing. Let me know what deck you would like to see me play next. Let me know if there's anything that you'd like to see in terms of deck building or concepts or things of that nature as we moved into have another set of cards come out. But until next time, friends, be sure to like this video, subscribe if you're new. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. You don't know how much I appreciate it, and I will see you all next time. But until then, bye-bye now.